Hi, my name is Andrew Hott, and I'll be going over the amphibious mission assault rules with you. The missions that use these rules are FUBAR and Help Is on the Way. Both are found in the American D-Day book, and also both will be found in the D-Day Train Pack. Before you begin your game, you need to look at how many points you guys are playing. If you're playing a 100-point game, you'll get 4 landing craft. You get 1 landing craft for each 25 points in your list. That's how I got to 4 landing craft. Now, when you have 4 landing craft, that means 4 platoons will begin the game in landing craft and landing on the table. Now, your platoon HQs can go with any platoon in their unit, so you have to figure out whether or not you want them to come on as their own unit in their own landing craft, or if you want to attach them to, like, let's say it's an infantry platoon, to attach the infantry HQ to that platoon and put them both in one boat and land them. Same thing with tanks. If tanks come together, you can put the tank HQ with the tank platoon, and they can come together as one unit. So you kind of need to make those decisions before you start the game, but it allows you to get a little bit more on the table right off the bat. Now, when you place your boats, the first time you go down, you have to take and consider the table's drift. And before each game, you'll see which way the drift is going. You'll roll 1d6, and depending on what you roll, you'll either drift left or right on the table. A 1, 2, 3 is left, and a 4, 5, 6 is right. For this game, we're going to say I rolled a 1, which I did, and have the boats drift to the left. So each time you place a boat to deploy a platoon, you pick a spot to place it. So let's say here, and you roll dice. Now, on a 5 or 6, the platoon will be delayed and won't land on the table. On any other roll, it will drift that many inches times 4 down the board. So let's see here. I rolled a 3. That would be 12 inches down the board. I'm going to grab my measuring tape and measure 12 inches down the board, right there. And that's where it would eventually come on, and I would disembark my platoon. So really quick, I'm going to disembark a regular assault rifle platoon and show you how that works. So as a unit arrives, they move on from the landing craft door. So this commander will run up here to the seed wall, and I'll try to get as many guys probably against the seawall. Now in the games, the seawall will provide you extra bulletproof cover, so it's a good idea to get to the seawall if you can. But sometimes you just won't have enough movement to get everybody there like this. So I'm going to have to tuck in a couple models behind, and they'll be a little bit more vulnerable until next turn when I can get them in protection. Next, you have to see if your boat returns to the floating reserves. You roll a d6, and on a 4+, it goes back to your reserves, and you can load it up for next turn with new infantry and bring it back in. On any other roll, though, it gets stuck, and you won't be able to use that for reserves next turn. So you might actually have less reserves coming in next turn than you had this turn if a lot of these get stuck. So that's how infantry lands on a landing craft. Next, I'm going to explain how tanks land on a landing craft. I'll place this, and I'll roll the dice, and on a 2, it will go down 8 inches and land on the shore. Tanks and gun teams work a little bit different than infantry. When they disembark, they have to roll a bogging test. If they fail the bogging test, like right here on a 1, they actually disembark in front of the craft, and they block the rest of the tanks from leaving the craft. So the craft gets stuck there until we get all the tanks out. This is one of the reasons why it's really good to bring tanks that aren't in landing crafts. And I'll go over that right now, how to work with amphibious tanks and DD Shermans. Amphibious tanks, or DD Shermans in this case, come on one at a time from the side. Now, DD tanks work a little bit different than your normal landing crafts. If you roll a 1 through 3, they drift. If you roll a 4, they will get swamped and the tank will be destroyed. So it's a little bit more risky because each tank you have to roll and each 4 you get might lose you a tank. On a 5 or 6, then they go back to the floating reserve and they might come on next turn. Now, when DD tanks are in the beach zone, they operate as independent tanks. But as soon as they leave, they become a normal tank platoon and need to follow normal tank command rules. Now, normally I'd roll for these 1 at a time, but one of the quick ways to do it is you can roll 3 dice, and just where they lie, you just kind of match up with the tank. So this is the one furthest forward, so that'll be that one, and this one. Well, this one rolled a 4, so it's going to get destroyed. This one rolled a 1, so it's going to go 4 inches down and land on the beach. And this one rolled a 5, so that means it returns my floating reserve. So I'm just going to set it up there to remind me next turn that it can come back. Now the tank that landed on the beach, just like a landing craft, will have to make a bogging test to see if it gets stuck on the beach. It has not, so I actually can move its full movement. And that's how you do beach landings with infantry and tanks. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.